Another Sunday, another big old dump for Bitcoin and especially crypto. A lot of altcoins again falling off a cliff when everyone thought the pain was over. Well, guess what? It's not, because it's an illiquid weekend and they're going to come for your bag. So today we're going to be discussing exactly why this is happening, what I'm doing, and the news and the data that you guys need to know to be fully up to date. We can see a big old pullback slicing through our support zone that we were hoping was going to hold, but not all is lost just yet until we really break 89,000. Staying above 89,000 continues the uptrend and keeps it intact, and I believe this is designed to make you believe that it is over, designed to shake you out, and designed to get your bags. Now that might be a conspiracy theory, but what we're seeing in the market right now is just textbook fear, uncertainty, and doubt playing out right in front of us. We come up, we make new highs, we get rejected, people start to panic, and the price starts to fall. Then we get news, people panic more, the price falls more, it finds a support, and then heads higher. If this is the next leg, we may still be in our dead cat bounce. Remember that, guys. That is why we take profits from any trades that we're in. We use stop losses and we stay safe and protect our capital at all costs, because there's a very real chance that we still are going into a bear market or are already in it, depending on how you classify. Now, with that said, what do I expect to happen? Well, like I said, I want us to hold $89,000. A quick wick below it wouldn't be too bad, but at least holding that region to keep this uptrend intact. Right now, I don't like to say it because I'm not a jerk, but obviously we did discuss this, right? This is exactly what we were expecting because of the data that I look at every single day on this channel. That's why it's super important that you guys subscribe and turn on the notifications so you know when we're having these discussions. The discussion was there is way too many longs in the market, a disgraceful amount in comparison to the shorts. That means that there will be most likely, not guaranteed, but most likely extreme volatility, and most likely that volatility happens to the downside, because if the manipulation is correct, which I believe it is, then there is liquidity below us, and that's exactly what we've seen today. Over $500 million worth of wrecked positions, $525 million. So over $500 million of crypto longs liquidated in the past 60 minutes. Let's go and have a little look to see. 869 million now at the time of recording this. It might even get up to $1 billion, guys. And this is, I'm sorry to say it for the people who got liquidated, good. All right. Not good for them, but good for like we've seen the volatility now. But I must say again, caveat that with there is still way more longs than there are shorts. However, the shorts are building up, which makes me a little bit more comfortable, which is the reason this morning I've taken a little bit of a risk here and I've opened a Doge position, long position, but I've put in a stop loss quite tight here below this. I'm discounting this wick right here, but this wick right here, I want to make sure that my stop loss is, you know, a little bit below it. It's got a little bit of period of wicking to do here. And then if it gets stopped out, I'll just wait patiently to see what comes from it next. Green. Hopefully we can make some profit from that. But if not, I'm willing to take that risk, right? I've got cash to play with. And I do think that with a big, quick push to the downside like this, we could see a push to the upside. So that's what I've decided to do, guys. Don't blindly follow me. I could lose this money. But look at this. Gold vs Bitcoin right now. Gold pumping once again. Bitcoin absolutely dumping. Very frustrated, I know, if we don't hold any gold. Personally, I don't hold any gold. The good thing that we've seen now, gold and silver, the good way to look at this sort of thing is now we know, well, they randomly pump, and it's not random, but they do over a period of time. They do nothing for a long period of time, and then they can go up significantly. So having that in your portfolio could be a great shout. Now, for me personally, I don't want to chase the pumps. That's not what I like to do. I like to position myself early. So once things calm down, I may actually add some precious metals to my portfolio, as well as Bitcoin, as well as the S&P 500, as well as all of that. Now, the S&P 500 has actually dropped. The futures opened and it dropped about 1%. What is this? What's going on? Okay, well, Trump seems to be at it again with some breaking news. First of all, top Republicans have warned Trump that if he invades Greenland, it would be the end of his presidency. The House Democrats only need 5 more votes to impeach Trump before March 31st. So could this be one of the reasons? On top of that, right? we have the announcement of 10% tariffs on imports to 8 European countries. EU preparing up to 100 billion in tariffs and market restrictions on US companies in retaliation already, but the European countries, unless they support US efforts in Greenland, prompting European leaders to label it blackmail and plan retaliation of up to, we just saw it, 100 billion. The news hit the weekend trading, caused US stock markets futures to slide and Bitcoin to plunge with a 502, we're actually close to $1 billion now of long liquidations. All right. So this is what's happening. This is the news. This is the catalyst. This is exactly what is going on. In return and retaliation to that, we have the countries coming back. We've seen this pattern before. Trade escalation hits first, risk. Bitcoin can wobble early, but prolonged tariff fights pressure, FX, growth and confidence, and capital starts to look for assets that aren't tied to any one country or block. So it could actually be long-term bullish for Bitcoin, but right now things are looking a little bit shaky. So these countries include Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, and the UK, and the Netherlands, and Finland starting February 1st. They jumped to 25% on June 1st, and they stay in place until a deal is reached. This isn't trade policy as usual. It's tariffs being used directly as geopolitical leverage. So is this the same story once again? Is he bluffing? Is it just going to be removed by the time the market actually opens? We don't know, but that's what happened last time, and it's most likely going to happen again. If it doesn't, we'll just have to see what happens. Things like our short-term trades probably won't work for a little bit of time as the market gets a little bit more bearish, and we may have a prolonged down period again. But that's something that we just need to accept. That's part and parcel of the market that we're in. And I know it's not what you guys want to hear, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Every time we see these big tariff crash, even on the S&P 500, we had it back here, right? But yeah, this was the tariff crash before, guys. And just look at the recovery. So this is the biggest market essentially in the world. And then the same thing happened with Bitcoin, very slightly higher, but it's not terrible, all right? So whether or not we're in a pullback like we are here, or we're going into a bear market, the same thing has been true every time. Both of those have been regions to buy depending on your risk appetite. Don't buy here if you can't sustain a 50% drop. Don't buy here if you can't sustain that money actually going to zero. Buy here if you're okay to dollar cost average here, and you want access to potentially, if we are in a region like this instead, that you can get the upside. That's the risk to reward, and that's what could be happening here, guys. There's no way to know for sure what will happen. All I know is that in the history of my journey in this market, stacking sats has always been the right thing to do. So I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to continue to update you guys no matter what happens in this market. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.